Welcome back to the last but one of the series in real estate, Introduction to Real Estate with Engineer Vigolo. Today you see my notes. I'm not too smart after all. I was going to start this lesson with the cliche that if you've watched this video up to this point, I'm sure it's because you want to know the business opportunity in real estate. And I couldn't memorize this one, so I'm going to read it to you. As I'm memorizing the rest, this has been my note. It has always been hidden down there. Let's get to business. Ghana's population increased by 25%, 6.1 million. That's 25 million to 30 million from 2010 to 2021. I am making this video in 2025. So by now, Ghana's population is 33 million people. That is good news. That is not a problem. Residential properties increased by 73%. That's from 3.3 million to 5.8 million from 2021 to from 2010 to 2021. So we have 30 million people staying in 6 million houses. That would be how many people in one house? 5 people per home. Great, then we don't have any problem. But just flash back your home and see how many people are in your house and how many people have multiple homes. It will give you a fair idea about the housing deficit in Ghana, and that is the business opportunity in Ghana. I have good news and I have bad news. What is the bad news? Bad news first, so that we can rejoice after the good news. The bad news is that a lot of these people will never buy a house in their lifetime. Whenever I say this, people think I'm wicked. It's because you are privileged, you are unrealistic, you're arrogant, and all the stuff. That's fine. But this is research, this is experience, this is history. That has always been the case. The poor will always be with you. A lot of people will never be rich in their life, and a lot of people will never buy a house. The best part is that those people will never watch my videos, because all the people who watch my videos are smart and intelligent people who would want to buy a house. Now, if you buy a house, or if you have a house, you're an average human being. You are richer than 70% of the world, because less than 50% of the world have a reasonable place of abode. Okay, so once you start taking real estate, that is great. Okay. Another bad news is this. If you are a fresh graduate, unless under very, very rare conditions where you work in the gold mines or some exotic companies, you can never earn enough money to build and own a house, at least not in Accra, in your first year or two of service. Okay, so people say, oh, as a fresh graduate, how will I make money to buy that kind of house? Sorry. As a fresh graduate, you're struggling to survive. You're saving money on transport. You're trying so hard to save some rent. You rent a house. You make some more money. You buy a nice phone. You get a beautiful girlfriend. You marry her. Those are the kind of things you should be doing. Fine. If you want to be an entrepreneur and you are a Gen Z, I'm going to make it by crook or by hook. You decide not to marry. You use one phone for 5 years. You still need to work pretty hard. Work twice as hard. Save a lot of money. Buy some plots that you might realize that it's too far, you don't want to stay there, or buy a studio apartment, something. You cannot own a 4-bedroom duplex at Airport East as a fresh graduate. Don't stress yourself. Okay, am I making sense? Maybe I'm not. Fine, that's okay. But I'm coming to make a presentation to you about the kind of homes in which people stay in Ghana, and the kind of homes that people buy in Ghana, the kind of homes that people build in Ghana. Because more than 80% of Ghana's population doesn't buy real estate or buy properties from developers. So there is bigger opportunity in actually selling land and building for people. In case that is a space you can function in, harness it, embrace it, okay? Just a few actually buy properties. And I can tell you just 5% of Ghanaians, let's make it 10% for the sake of the mass, 3 million Ghanaians are willing and ready to buy from developers. And I can tell you, developers have not built 3 million homes in Ghana since the evolution and upcoming of the real estate development mentality. We've not built that much houses. Okay, so the people who are buying houses are not average Ghanaians. I don't know whether that is a good news or a bad news. I hope that people don't watch the video to this end, because you might get bitter against me, but that is the truth. The people who buy homes are not average Ghanaians. They are way, way far above average Ghanaians. They have a very good paying job. They have some nice business. They have some monies coming in from places, okay? Some kind of investment, okay? they are well to do. Okay, real estate, buying of homes, and the kind of things we are doing here is not cheap. Okay, once a while the government tries to do affordable housing, and they tell us it's $50,000. I've never seen $50,000 in my life before, at least not in cash. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. So once you start doing real estate, you have to know that you are going to have a tough time finding buyers, finding clients, because they are hidden. The rich are nowhere to be found. I go to golf course, they don't mind me. I go to parties, they don't mind me. I schedule a meeting, they don't turn up. How do we find them? I don't know. If I knew, I would not be teaching you. I'll just be cruising the Bahamas, spending my commission made from selling $2 million homes. Anyway, I have some ideas that might be useful to you. Let me take back my notes. So Ghanaians stay in homes like detached houses, flats, compound houses, wooden structures, uncompleted buildings, huts, and container buildings. How many of these do real estate providers build? You get it? I don't think you want to become a developer who does container buildings. Fine, it's a nice innovation. It's done on social media and the buzz is all over the place and the like. But would your numbers work out? Okay, because you want to build a container home for $10,000. The container is $3,000. Cost of shipping is $1,500, and then you need a crane to move it. Then you need to furnish it. By the time you're done, you spend $10,000. How are you going to sell something that you spend $10,000 on for $10,000? So you need economics of scale. That's one of the ways you can make money in real estate. When you buy so much that you get so much savings. Okay, you can save on waste. You can get more discounts, you can optimize and those stuff. So maybe sometime I'm going to teach you different ways where successful real estate developers make money. Just listen to that for the sake of the minute just came up. Optimization. When you optimize your process, you can save on your process. Okay, optimization, economics of scale. Okay, you can also save on that. Okay, and then sometimes when you go viral, when you become a buzz, like you're all over the place, you can save money. And when you do good batching, okay, batching can be an optimization issue. You can make so much money. And when you do land banking, maybe you bought the land so long ago and now you are developing, so the land is almost free in your books. Okay, you can make a lot of money. And then how else can you make a lot of money as a real estate developer? Let me know in the comments. So great, that's the kind of houses that Ghanaians stay in, and you have to see which one that the people who have money like to buy where you find yourself. And usually Ghanaians, when they make their first money, they want a 3-bedroom house on a 1 full plot at a nice location, as close to their workplace as possible, depending on how much money the person has. So they are now going to need to work some things out. Now, what kind of houses do Ghanaians stay in? They build their own house and stay in it. Maybe just 10% of Ghanaians have that privilege, that they are staying in a house they built by themselves. I don't have that privilege. I don't stay in a house I've built by myself. The rent, I'm renting, okay? Then there's a leasehold, maybe a 50-year lease, 100-year lease, okay? I don't know why I didn't put lease before rent, okay? Then rent-free, you stay in a house he's not paying rent for. I think that's what I'm doing. I don't pay rent for my house. Maybe because I have a mortgage on it. I don't own it, okay, but I'm not renting it. Okay, it's almost rent-free, but it's not rent-free because it's something that we have to, let me know in the comments. How do you think is the kind of house that I stay in? Where would you want to put it? Do I own it? Do I not own it? Am I paying rent? Let me know. Then they are perching. When we come to Accra, all of us, when we first got to Accra, for me, I've not been privileged to be born in Accra, we perched. So whenever you do an urban migration, if you are not very privileged, you do some perching. So people do perch a lot. Is this an issue for you as a developer? No, you cannot solve the perching problem unless you do some kind of innovation, which I've seen in Hong Kong, China, and those stuff, where they have much smaller homes. People have literally cubicles and coffins that you can just creep into it. You either have a shared shower or small shower, a bed, Wi-Fi, just the stuff you need to survive, which is okay, to an extent, which is okay. Not acceptable, but okay. And then you squat. Okay, squatting and perching, what is the difference? Squatting, you probably perching at a place where the host is not around. That's more like squatting. Okay, but when you are perching, the host may be around. And then there might be other ways that people survive. there are kiosk homes, there are under bridges and those things. That one is not a real estate problem, because unless you get the privilege of funding and philanthropy and that kind of stuff, and you want to solve the problem of lack of housing or sleeping under bridge, street life, fine, that's great. But when you're thinking the business and making money on real estate, that's not something you should do. So let's go to some of the most selling houses in Ghana. I'll give you just two, okay? The most selling houses, category of houses, they have two kind of models, okay? We have the investor buyers. I don't know whether I've said this so far, okay? I think I've said it, okay? But usually when I'm doing feasibility studies, I get asked this question a lot. And then the dwelling buyers, okay? Dwelling buyers. These are the two common types of buyers in Ghana. Maybe all over the world, but let's just talk about Ghana. Who are these people? The investor buyer is buying a house hoping to earn revenue. He's looking at how much money he's making on the house. So for him to make money, he has to be getting the most rent, and his tenants should be in the house high occupancy rate, and he has to spend less in managing the place and cleaning it up and maintaining it so that he can maximize his profit. The dwell-in buyer doesn't make money on rent. He stays there for prestige, for proximity to workplace. He thinks about commute. Okay, I'll actually go back to what they think about. So the dwelling buyer is thinking about how close it is to his workplace. Okay, it has to be in Accra. I work at Spinters. My house has to be here. That kind of stuff. Okay, and then he's thinking about family. Okay, so when I die, where would they do my funeral? Where will my wife stay? Where will the kids stay as they grow? They ask different kind of questions. So we'll just state some of the differences. Investor buyers, I believe, and I've seen, they like studio apartments. Okay. Apartments. Okay. Sometimes they may buy 1 or 2 bedroom, but they like studio apartments. And then dwelling buyers, they like a 2 bedroom. Okay. Okay. These are the best moving houses. Now, the truth about the dwelling buyer is that if he has the money, he would have bought a 3 or 4 bedroom. Okay, but this is the most. But the investor buyers, if he has some studios already, he will want to buy a 1 or 2 bedroom, so that once a while he can also pass by himself and spend some time there by himself. Now, the reason why this man is buying it is what? Return on investment. That's what he thinks about. And this man is thinking about what? Experience. Though this man will have an experience, but this man is thinking about a social experience. Okay, how will I say it? Just experience. Okay, self-actualization. Let's say self-actualization. Okay. Now, since this came up, let me tell you, this person will buy another house when he makes more money. Okay, so makes more money, bigger house, makes more, bigger house. Okay, this person will buy when he makes more. Okay, he will buy more houses. It doesn't have to be bigger. How do you place this person? High rent. Once he's getting high income, okay, from the house, you'll be happy. How do you place this person? How can you place this person? Quality, okay. Quality experience, okay. If his children get a good school around and they're like, he'll be happy. What kind of community? These people usually like, they don't mind apartments, okay? So we love apartments. So once you are building apartments, don't be too much trying to get dwelling. The rich will dwell in apartments more than people who don't have the money. They will rather rent, but Ghanaians don't like to own an apartment that they are staying in. they'll buy it to rent it out. They'll rather rent it, but they'll never buy it, or they usually will not buy it unless they have some level of exposure that they are thinking in some realms of finance, that they are working some other numbers. Okay, these people, and they hate apartments. Okay, so what do they like? They like self-compound. So they like self-compound. Okay, the place is full, but I'll tell you one more thing about these people. These people work their mass and see how much more money they can make in how short a time than they can make it, and that influences their decision. These people work their mass and go for the least property they can get at the closest possible place to town or attraction centers. Okay, so he wants a 2-bedroom, but he has 100,000, so he keeps moving out of town until he gets a 2-bedroom for 100,000. When he makes more money, he either gets a 4-bedroom at that same area, or he tries to get a 2-bedroom closer to town. Then depending on the family size, he will make some decisions. So you now need to look into your clientele. Who is coming? What do they need? How can I serve them? Okay, to be able to make this kind of... And if you want to build as well, you have to look into this. If you have $80,000, just buy a studio. If you have $50,000, there's no studio for $50,000. Then, depending on how you make money, you see how you can build some 2-bedroom house a little bit further from town. The land is 10,000. You build something really cute. You spend a year or 2 in building it. You make some money on it. So there are going to be a few things that will influence what you'll be doing. This is what I try to tell people. It's not just this is the best. It's not one suit fit all. Okay, it's about your budget, your earning capacity, your cash flow, and all those things, and your preference. Maybe you are retired. Okay, so you want people around you. Apartment. You get it? Maybe you don't care where you are. You just want to get away from the toxicity of this world and just enjoy greens. You've lived in apartments in the New York all your life. You want to eat organic food. Okay, so you want to buy 1 acre of land for just 35,000 Ghana cedis. Small 2-bedroom house because all your children don't even come around. Excuse me. And have an organic garden when you do this. You get it? Maybe you don't stay in Ghana. So when you come, you want a place to have fun with your guys. But when you are not around, you want that place to be earning some revenue or something. You can do this. You get it? Or maybe you come every 6 months. And when you come, it's just business. It's just a place to lay your head. You can do this. So all these things begin to affect your ideas. Now I'm talking to you, maybe as an investor, you will think about this. Maybe as a buyer, you think about it. Maybe as a developer, you will think about which of these people you want to serve. Because each one of them has their mindset and quality of experience. Okay. Once the person's financial pedigree is not so high, you have problem with different kind of things compared to someone whose financial pedigree is so high. Someone who has a higher financial pedigree, they just pay, they walk away. Okay, but they negotiate very hard. You get it? Very arrogant. Someone who has a lower financial pedigree, they negotiate very hard anyway, but they need more time to pay. So depending on how you are even getting your money, because if you get a loan and you are paying back at 10% every month, you cannot wait for someone who needs a 10-year payment plan. You need to get your money back fast. So all these things are going to come into play and then affect your decision. So think about it. I believe this is clear enough. If it's not, let me know. We'll always talk about it. These things go into play, at least for Ghana, and West Africa is similar. Okay, when you are building, think about these things and who you want to serve, the resources you have that will influence what you should invest in. If you want to make a decision for yourself as well, you can look back into these things and make that decision. There can be a lot more. I can share ideas and a lot of things about this for so long, but I believe this is a lot for now. Let me know if you need more. If you feel it's not sufficient, I can give you a whole presentation on just that. This can be a whole topic, okay, or a whole board issue to discuss. The next one is about ghost towns and why a lot of people are building ghost towns, why a lot of real estate innovators are thinking ghost towns. And I really enjoy this part of the lectures because once upon a time when I did these lectures 2 years ago, I told them about ghost towns and they had to do a project and they designed a ghost town. I don't know why. I'll see you in the next class.